Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Thank you for joining me. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to first demo the AI system that I built, and then I'm going to do a deep dive later. I'll walk through it a little bit. So what I'm doing here is I'm uploading documents, and these documents are going to be used as attachments in my email. So really the AI agent, it doesn't know that you've uploaded a document. Later on in the workflow, it'll do some logic and it'll check if there's documents that should be included in your email. So right here, this is just a test, but yeah, let's upload a few documents. I don't know, let's upload this one, and then let's see, let's just upload, well, we can upload the test PDF again. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm just uploading these documents, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the AI agent, hey, please send an email to Levi saying blah, 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 and then in my email there's going to be these files. So let's go over there right now.
Hey Bill, what can I help you with today?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm here and ready to assist you. What do you need help with today?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could send an email to Levi telling him to take out the trash.
Sure thing. Just to confirm, is there anything specific you would like to include in the email, or should I keep it simple? Also, could you please provide me with Levi's full name to retrieve his email address?
Yeah, sure. No, just leave the email like that, and it's to Levi Malara.
I found an email address for Levi Malera. Would you like me to proceed with that, or do you want to double check the name?
No, just go ahead and send it.
Here's a draft for the email. Subject, reminder to take out the trash. Hi Levi, could you please take out the trash? Thank you. I'll send this to the email address team at malera.tech. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sending the email to Levi now. The email has been queued for sending, and it may take a little while to process. Is there anything else I can assist you with in the meantime?
Could you also create a calendar event with Levi? Just including like the description to take out the trash at 2 p.m., please?
Just to clarify, would you like me to invite Levi to this calendar event, or is it just a reminder for you?
No, invite Levi, please.
I found Levi's email address again. I'll proceed to create the calendar event for 2 p.m. with the description to take out the trash and invite him. Just a moment, please. The calendar event Take Out the Trash has been successfully created for September 14th, 2025 at 2 p.m., and Levi Malera has been invited. If you need anything else or have more tasks, just let me know.
Okay, thank you. All right. So that's done. Now let's go check our Gmail and Google Calendar and see if that actually happened. Okay, as you can see, we have our email, and it says, hi Levi, could you please take out the trash? Thank you. All right, and right, we have our two files that we uploaded to our Telegram, and they're included in our email as attachments. Okay, now let's go over to our calendar, see what happened. Okay, we have our reminder at 2 p.m., including Levi. It says one guest, and it says, this is me, since this is my email. But anyways, it included the right person, it included a guest with the right email, and it says take out the trash at the correct time, and yeah. So now let's go into an in-depth breakdown showing you guys how exactly I built this and the problems I faced and how to fix them. Hi everyone, how's it going? Hope you all are doing well, and also hopefully by the title of this video you guys can see that I'm going to show you guys how to build a real reliable, accurate chatbot system that can handle emails and calendar events and even send emails with attachments. And I always like to start off with a story and kind of like the reason why I'm making this video. To just set some context, this is a real chatbot system that I built for a real client. They work in insurance, so they have a bunch of emails going through they have to handle, and calendar events that their customers are setting with them. So they thought just to introduce them to this new world of AI, they wanted just a simple email and calendar chatbot system. And I agreed to it. I thought it was going to be a super simple project. I was like, oh, I I kind of already had it in my head. I'm just going to do this and then this and then this, and it's going to be super easy. And that's because I had a bit of a false notion of these AI systems. Not that, you know, the information you're seeing on the internet is bad, but I think it is a little bit misleading, and you know, I have really nothing to lose by telling you guys what I've learned. There's no reason for me to lie about what I'm doing. So I'm making this video because I want to show you guys that I just kind of want to clear up some misconceptions about how easy it is to build these AI systems. And just as a side note, sorry if my voice is a little bit nasally and clogged up. I am a bit sick, but that doesn't give me an excuse to stop recording, stop doing this. I enjoy filming these videos and just showing you guys what I built. But anyways, yeah, let's hop right into it. So I'll include a demo of the voice agent at the beginning of this. But yeah, so this is a email and calendar chatbot system that we're going to be accessing through voice using ElevenLabs. So as you guys can see, you know, I have my ElevenLabs right here. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get into like the system prompt and everything that I'm doing here. So I'm going to go through this whole thing, but I do want to go through it really fast because I don't want to take a lot of time. But anyways, let's actually go right here first. Hold on, let me refresh this. So this is the first tool that our parent agent uses, and this is our get contact tool. So what's happening when, you know, you say, hey, can you get Levi's email address? And it's like, sure thing. What it's doing is it's calling this webhook, it's sending a post request to this webhook, and then it's triggering this SQL query. And I actually want to talk about this for a second because I did not come up with this at, you know, my first try. This was not my first try. Let me show you guys my first try. My first try was actually, since I'm using Supabase as like a backend with all my all the client information and their emails and stuff like that. The reason I use Supabase is because I can do this. I can add a filter. I can use this get many rows node, and I can add a filter down here. Okay. And hold on. I think it says yeah. Okay. So these are what's called PostgREST, like a REST API, PostgREST, REST API, PostgREST operators. Okay. And so I'm using these for a string, and my first idea was to use this I like operator. Okay, because I thought basically what's happening when we hit this webhook. Let me show you guys the input data. So when this tool is called, right, we have in our body the name of the person, you know, being queried about. So we have our name right here, and so my idea was just to say, hey, okay, why don't I put get all the rows where name, the name column, is like fill in a blank, Levi, you know. And that worked for a few of the test cases, but it didn't actually work in production because sometimes, especially with names, the AI can't transcribe it very well. So you'll say the name, but let's say you say a really weird name, you know, like a name that isn't pronounced well in English. The English transcriber tries to transcribe that name into English words, but it just doesn't get it. So, and also this I like operator, it's not like a fuzzy search sort of thing. Basically what it does is it checks if all the letters in this string are the same as all the letters in this string if it was a lowercase string. So it basically checks if this is all lowercase and then compares them and sees if they're the same string, which is not really what we're doing. We kind of want more of like a fuzzy search. Like if the name is close to this name, for example, one of the names in the Supabase was Zina, okay, Z-I-N-A. And when you talk to the AI, it sent the name Z-A-I-N-A. So this I like operator, it's not going to match them because the strings are different, because there's a present in one and not in the other. So it's just checking if you lowercase both of them, are they the same string? Basically, we want it to catch if the name is very close to the name we want or the name that's present in our Supabase. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's why I'm using this SQL query, because, and I use Claude for this, but basically what we're doing is we're selecting the row from our table, and we're creating what's called like a match score, and we're using what's called a fuzzy search extension. You can enable it in Supabase. I think it's called a PGTRM or something like that. You guys can look it up. I forgot what it was. But basically, it's a fuzzy search extension that you can enable in Supabase. And then I just asked Claude to write me this SQL query. And what this does, again, is to run the similarity function on all the names with the name given, and see, it gives it a score. Okay, and then we're basically setting a threshold. If that score is greater than 0.3, then return all those rows. And usually you only get one back. And we're just saying, okay, return all the rows that are above this threshold. Okay, I did prompt the AI to basically have a fallback protocol where if it gets multiple, to ask for more information. But hopefully this made sense. We're creating a match score. We're scoring how similar all the names in the name column are to the name we have from our webhook. And then yeah, we set a limit to 5 just so that we don't get a bunch of them. But anyways, and then we're just responding back to the webhook so that the AI has some real-time information. So hopefully this made sense. I know I've been saying that a lot, but that was kind of this was one of the biggest parts of the AI, is because my client, he just wanted to say the first name. He just wanted to say, hey, get Levi's, send Levi an email about this. It's very simple to just say that, but it's not that simple to actually build out. And this was just my solution to it. Okay. And yeah, you can't really do this with like a Google Sheet. If you're storing your clients or your contacts in a Google Sheet, there's no, one of these fuzzy search extensions. Okay. So that's why Supabase is really awesome in my opinion. Okay. And then now let's go over here to our calendar agent. All right. And what's happening here is obviously a lot of stuff, and it looks much different than just a regular AI agent where you have your brain and then it has all these tools, and it looks like a bit of an octopus, kind of like this, but like let's say we put these two tools under this one, right? You see on the internet you have this AI agent, and then it has the brain, you have some memory, and then you have all the tools. Okay, that does not work well. And that's what I tried at first, because that's what I was seeing. I was like, it should be this easy. I don't know why the AI doesn't know how to pick this tool and it picks this one. And I'm prompting it to do this, but it just can't do it. And so this was my solution. What I'm doing here is I'm partitioning the tasks, and I'm letting the AIs do different singular tasks. Okay, and I'm trying to partition it, very intelligently. And so let me just show you guys what's happening here. Once you tell the voice AI, say like, hey, can you set a calendar event for this? Okay, what it does is it sends the query, the user query, create a calendar event for today at 2 p.m. to take out the trash. Okay, and then if there's an attendee email and an attendee name, then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. We're going to classify this text classifier right here. It classifies the user query, and it classifies it into two categories. One is a calendar creation event. So if it says in this user query to create something of some sort, then it's going to go, in this route. Okay, and if you're just modifying event, then it's going to go on this bottom route. Okay, and so what I have here is, as you can see, here, let me zoom in. This route is the calendar creation, but what I've done is there's two other routes in this calendar creation task, and one is to just create a reminder with no attendees, and the other one is to create a calendar event with attendees. Okay, and the reason I did this is because if you're just going to give a singular AI agent just one create calendar event tool, in my experience, it had a really hard time figuring out if it was a regular calendar event where there's no one, it's just like a reminder for yourself, or if you have to add an attendee. Okay, And so what I've done here is in this if node, I said if these two things exist at the same time, this is the attendee name and the attendee email. So if these things even exist, that means that this is a event with an attendee, okay? If they don't exist, you don't need to worry about that, okay? So this if node is kind of doing some of the legwork for AI, so it doesn't have to, do that sort of intelligent processing, trying to figure out whether it's an event with an attendee or without one, okay? Hopefully that made sense as well. And then yeah, in here, in this reminder creator agent, we're giving it the present moment, because I remember I would tell it to create an event and it would create an event in like 2023. It's 2025 right now, so I'm like, okay, it needs to know the time that it's at. And then yeah, we're giving it the query from our webhook, create an event to take out the trash or whatever. And then we just have our system message right here. Okay, you guys can pause and take a screenshot or whatever. And then yeah, we're just responding back to our webhook. And then right here in our event creator, same sort of thing. We're giving it the name and email, and also telling it the present moment, the time, and giving it the user query. Here is the system message, same sort of thing. We're just giving it one tool, right? And this is where the AIs work best, is just with one tool, okay? And that's just kind of what I figured out going along, building this out. And hold on, let me go into the tools actually. So as you can see in this just general reminder with no attendee, we just have our start, okay, and our end time. And I think in my start and end time, I had a bit of trouble. Oh yeah, no, I didn't. It did have a bit of a problem assuming how long the event was, so I just told it, always assume the event is 1 hour long unless otherwise specified. And then right here, right, in attendees, we have no items. We're allowing it to, include a description and a summary and so on, okay? And there's no updates because you don't have an attendee. And then in contrast, over here in our event with an attendee, same sort of thing, but now we've created an attendees field, and I've set this to define automatically by the AI. And then we'll have like a Google Meet link, just in case, and then a description, and we are sending updates to all the attendees and giving a summary, okay? So these are all the options that I included for this tool. You guys can change it if you want, but that's just kind of what I did, okay? And yeah, so we're using this text classifier to make creations, calendar creations, and calendar modifications, okay? But anyways, yeah, this calendar modifier agent now, let me show you guys. Same sort of thing, we're just giving it the user query and the present moment. Here is the system message. This one's a little bit different, right? Because we have a few tools, okay? And the way to delete or update an event is that you need to get all the events because, in order to delete or update event, you need the event ID. Okay, and the only way to get the event ID is to use this get many events tool. Okay, and what's happening here is we have to get the events after a certain time and before a certain time, and with a query right here. And this query right here, I'm not sure what this was. Oh yeah, just key terms to help you find that event. Okay, and yeah, in the system message, we're specifying exactly how to use this get many events, okay, because it was having a bit of trouble getting that time frame for the specific event you want. Okay, we even had to give it like a example right here. This is like a few shot example because it just wasn't doing that great. But now it does fine. I haven't had problems with this system message. And then we're just listing out the tools that it can use, right? So yeah, as you can imagine, if you just had one AI agent doing all these tasks, it would break. It would break so quickly. So yeah, that's why we're splitting it up into 2 different calendar creation tasks and then calendar modification tasks, okay? And I think I went through everything here. Hopefully that all makes sense. No, I think I'm good. Okay, now for the this is the daddy workflow. All right. So what's happening here is let's go to a execution. Let me show you guys my my input data. Hold on, give me a second. Okay. So here's what's happening. When we talk to our AI agent and we say, hey, send an email to Levi, tell him this is a test. It creates an email draft and it uses the email address it got from this get contact tool. Okay, so this get contact tool is pretty freaking important for the rest of the system because it needs the contact to create a calendar event with an attendee and so on, and also obviously to send an email. So this is the input data. We have our email draft and our email address. And so what's happening here is we're actually sending an email with an attachment. Okay, so let me show you guys what's going on. Let's skip this, let's skip this Supabase node. I'll touch on it in a second. But my idea was, or to set some context again, my client, he wanted the ability to send out emails with attachments. Okay, so not just a simple, send an email, right? Beforehand, my workflow kind of looked like this. This part right here, where we just have webhook, our email writer, send the email, respond back to the webhook. It looked a little bit like that, or exactly like that, okay? But now that my client wanted the ability to send emails with an attachment, it kind of had to change, okay? n8n doesn't have like a file upload interface unless you do like a form trigger sort of thing, which you can do. But I had to figure out a way to get my client to be able to upload a file somewhere and connect it to this workflow via webhook. And this is why webhooks are really important, is because they can accept data from really anywhere. Okay, but my solution that I came up with is actually with Telegram. I got my client to download Telegram on their computer so that they could chat with a chatbot. And so all it does is it just acts as like the file upload interface, where I just told my client, yeah, upload your files to this Telegram bot and then it'll be sent in the email that you want. So this Telegram bot, it just checks whether a message was sent. If it's a file, it downloads all the files and then it sends that data to a Supabase storage bucket, which is different from a table. A storage bucket holds like objects, like files and stuff like that. And so my idea was we send it to the bucket, and when you send a file to the bucket, you create a row in a table. And what that row is, it's basically just an indicator that something has been uploaded. So the row doesn't really do much. It's just a way so that we can check, like we can basically query Supabase and see, hey, did they even upload a file? Should we go down the path to include an attachment in our email? The only way to figure that out is to see if they uploaded a file. And so that's kind of what this create a row is doing. So we download our file. We download it as binary data. I'm sending it to Supabase storage. And when I send it, it has a key. So this is the key and a file ID. Okay. And in our case, we're really concerned with the key. Okay, and then if we go out of here, we create a row in our Supabase, and we're just including the conversation ID, the key, and the message ID. Okay, and I'm not too sure if these are even like applicable. This was just me saving metadata. If it comes to mind, the reason why I did this, I'll let you guys know. But I think it was just me saving, the conversation thread. But anyways, we save a key. Okay, and then going back here. Now we'll get into it, is we're checking if one row exists. This was kind of just my solution. I'm just checking if there's even one row that exists in this table. Because if that means one row exists, that means they uploaded something with the intention to send an email with an attachment. So that means that we have to go down this route. If there's nothing, they didn't upload anything, then we're just going to send a simple email. Okay? And the switch node is just checking if the key, the key is just the indicator that something's been uploaded. If the key does not exist, you send an email without an attachment. If it does exist, it's an email with an attachment, like I just said. And yeah, let me just go into this email writer. So what's happening here is that this email writer, it doesn't actually write the email. The voice agent from ElevenLabs writes the email. You can think of that as like the parent agent. What this email writer does is it formats it in HTML, as you can see over here. And why am I doing HTML? Or I don't know if you can see it, right? In my email node over here, we'll get into this in just a second, but I'm using HTML. And the reason I'm doing HTML is because when I used text, the only other option is text. It was formatted weird on the mobile interface in Gmail. So I just didn't like the way it looked, and then when I used HTML, it worked just fine. It looked fine. And I could also add an email signature at the end, which you can't do with text. And that's what my client also wanted, an email signature. So yeah, a few reasons why I'm using HTML here. And then, yeah, this is the system message. We give it a role. The task is just to take this plain text email and turn it into HTML. And then I give it a standard operating procedure, step by step. Do this, do this, do this. Cool. And then now, right over here, this Supabase get all action was just to see if the files exist. Now this Supabase node is getting those files, right? And I say files because there can be multiple. I had to figure out a way to make it so that if they need to upload multiple attachments, all those attachments would be included in the email. Okay, so we're getting all the files, all the rows, right? Because the rows are corresponding to the files. We're getting all the rows in our Supabase table. Okay, and this key is important because this helps us query the file from our Supabase object storage, our storage bucket. Okay, and it gets all the files from that storage bucket. In this case, we only have one, but if there were multiple, it would get those multiple files. Okay, we're aggregating those into a list, into a single list. We're including our binaries. We're keeping only unique binaries, and then we're sending out our email. Okay, to our email address that we got from our webhook, and this email address came from our contact workflow. The subject line, which came from what our voice agent wrote in ElevenLabs. Same thing right here, our email. Our email is, the content is from ElevenLabs, but it was rewritten in HTML. Okay, and then we've included attachments. And this expression right here is joining all the binary data files from the previous node into a list, a comma-separated list, which is a requirement for this attachment. Add the field name from the input node. Multiple properties can be separated by a comma. So what we needed to do is dynamically attach multiple files to each other if they exist by a comma. Okay, and this expression just helps you do that. Okay. And so my solution for being able to send, you know, the big question that comes up is, well, if someone uploads a file, how do they know that that file is unique to that email? And so my idea was just to, whenever you upload a file and you send out the email, then the storage and the table gets reset. So that's what we're doing here. We're just deleting all the rows in, oh yes, so this is the conversation ID. We're deleting all the rows specific to that conversation ID. Different files would be associated with different people if there's multiple people interacting with our voice agent, but in this case it's not. It's only with one person. And then yeah, we're emptying our storage. We're just doing this empty request. Okay, and I think yeah, that's it. And then cool. And then we're responding to our webhook. So hold on, let me save this. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to say about this. Now I want to talk about the ElevenLabs agent. Okay, so what I have right here is I've just configured it for, this is just a random name I gave just to make it generic. Hey Bill, what can I help you with today? So that's the first message that you hear from this voice agent. Okay, And then this system prompt is very, very long. Okay. But the cool thing is in ElevenLabs, it can kind of handle this very long system prompt. We have a SOP for emails, and this is just showing it how it needs to call the tools and respond back to the person at the same time. Okay. Same thing for calendar events, how it needs to get the information and then call the correct tool. Right? We want to call the get contact tool before we do the calendar agent tool so that if there's an attendee, we can include that attendee in our calendar event. We're listing out the tools. This is just some formatting stuff. And then these are just a bunch of notes that I made because, as you're testing this, it does some things you don't like. So this is just, setting it straight, making the output more predictable and behave the way you want it to. Let me show you guys anything else. We gave it the ability to end the call. And yeah, these are all the tools it has, okay? So let me go into the tools. So when we call this get contact tool, we're sending it to our webhook, okay? And this timeout is just waiting for the workflow to finish. Okay, so I set the timeout to a maximum of 2 minutes. So it waits a maximum of 2 minutes for the workflow to finish. It's good. That's good enough. Okay, and here we're just sending in one body parameter, which is the name of the person. Okay, and remember that name is used for the SQL query. Okay, and no, nothing there. I think we're done right there. Okay, going to the email agent now. Same thing. We're sending it to our webhook, letting it run up to 2 minutes. And then we include the email draft, and this email draft is from the voice agent, and it has to be approved first by the user. Okay, that's what I have right here. Okay, and as you guys can probably, if you go back to the demo at the beginning of the video, you'll see that it says, "Does this sound good?" or something like that, or "How does this look?" It'll say stuff like that to check with you to make sure that the email draft is good. And then it'll send it out. And this right here, this system message to speak, this is not required. I only put this here because it was trying to call this tool, but it was using as a input parameter the system message to speak. And I didn't have this variable here. It wasn't able to send the system message to speak variable to this email agent tool. So it kept like erroring out on me. And I was like, what's happening here? So all I had to do was just include it, but make it not required. Okay. And then this is the email address that we got from the get contact tool. Okay. And then one last thing to go over is our calendar agent. Right. Setting it to the webhook. And this is a big, description. But yeah, I'm just giving it these very, in-depth descriptions so that it's very predictable and reliable. And we send the user query, which is set a calendar event to take out the trash at 2 p.m. or whatever. And I think that's it. Oh yes. And if they say, hey, this is an event, I want to include Levi in my event, that would be an indication of creating an event with an attendee. So I've set this as not required. But I've said right here, this is the name of the attendee included in the event. So the AI is smart enough to see, oh, they want to include this person in the event. Then, then I'll add this variable here. But I won't return anything if no attendee is specified in the user request. Same thing here, same thing with the name. And I think that's it. And I mean, there's not much else to go over. You can set the voice to however you want. This is what I have. The reason I'm showing you guys this is to just clear up any misconceptions you have about how easy it is to do n8n and just put stuff together. You have to really do a lot of planning. And so one thing I wanted to propose after going through all this and showing you guys how this works, I wanted to propose a different way to think about things. And so you'll probably see, if you're into AI agents and stuff like that, you'll probably see this sort of idea, this parent-child framework, where you have a parent agent, and then that parent agent has separate other AIs as tools. But in the case for me, right, I had to ask the question, okay, beforehand I had the parent agent, which is the voice AI in this case, and it called the email agent. And I had to ask the question, what about emails with attachments? Should one AI bot do everything? Should it have the ability to just write a simple email and just decide whether it's a simple email or one that includes attachments? And obviously, when you ask that question right now, knowing the capabilities of AI, the answer is no. You don't want the AI to do all the legwork. You have to break the task apart into subtasks and make it easier for the AI. So that's what this is doing, right? You're breaking the task apart into different AIs, okay? But you have to get a little bit more granular than just this, okay? And so I'm saying a better approach is to have your parent agent, but your parent agent has multiple tasks to do. So in the case of our voice AI is the parent, and it has the task of sending out an email, creating a calendar event, getting the contact for the email and calendar event, okay? But this task has subtasks, right? Say this is the email task, okay? You have one subtask. Subtask 1 is send an email with no attachment. Subtask 2 is send an email with an attachment, right? Over here, if this is our calendar example, our task is to not just create, but to do anything with the calendar, okay? We can create a reminder, create an event with attendee, update, delete, and stuff like that. And we have to break that task apart into subtasks, right? And what I have right here are the solutions to completing those subtasks, right? One could include AI, okay? And this solution does need AI. But how about this one? Does this one need AI? You have to ask the question, do these tasks need AI? And that's what I have right here. What are the subtasks? Okay. And is AI necessary for each task? So one may be necessary, all of them may be necessary, and one of them may need both code and AI. And that's kind of what n8n is. It's just code with a wrapper on it. Anyways, I'm in the same place as a lot of you guys where, I used to look on YouTube for help and stuff, but then once you start working with clients, you can't really find a lot of the solutions on YouTube. So you do have to figure it out on your own. So I hope this all made sense. I hope I didn't go through it too fast. If I did, I could totally make another video. I don't have a problem. I just hope this really made sense. I tried to go in as much in depth as I could. But yeah, again, the point of this video is to just show you guys that it's not as easy as you think. And there's a lot of these videos out there showing you how to, make your first AI agent. It uses all these tools and it's so smart. But really, AI is just not at the place right now where it can do all of these tasks intelligently and perfectly. Neither can a human, So you really have to help AI with code, and you really have to, for example, right here, right? I didn't let the AI decide whether or not it's an event with an attendee or not. I let this code decide, because this code is deterministic. Okay, AI is subjective. It's whether or not it thinks this is an event with an attendee or not. Okay, so you do have to help AI out with a little bit of code. And so that's all I'm proposing here, is to just make sure that when you're building out these systems, if you're ever building out another AI agent, you make sure that you break it apart into tasks and subtasks and let either AI or code handle those subtasks. Not AI does the whole task, the whole large task. You really have to break it out and make it granular and very refined. So yeah, hopefully this gave you some insight on how to build real, reliable, and accurate systems for your clients, clears up some misconceptions that you'll find on the internet, and helps you out in your AI journeys. So if you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe and like my content, and reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect with me. I'd love to talk with you guys. If I did not go over something in this video that you guys want me to go more in depth on, please leave a comment. I want to, tell you guys everything I know. I'm very happy to talk about a little bit more on something that wasn't fully covered in this video. But yeah, hopefully this helps, and I wish you all the best in your AI journeys.